A lot of times life will throw you a curveball. It's not all about hitting it out of the ballpark all the time because that's just not reality. A lot of times it's about base hits. A lot of times it's when you strike out, what do you do? Today, we are talking to Clark, and we're going to cover a lot of subjects, including depression, being down and out, and then kind of putting your boots on and realizing where you are and taking it to the next level. Having said that, Clark, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
A large part of our population is depressed, yet we're functional. And it's happened to a lot of people, a lot more than people would like to admit. Today, we're talking to Clark. Clark, you happen to be from Mastery.
Yes.
And if I met you, right, you go for hikes, you're an active guy, you're networking all the time, nobody will ever say, man, this guy's depressed.
Oh no, for sure, no.
So I want to kind of go back a little bit, right? We're talking about this topic because a lot of times this is something that we don't bring up, right? As you were relating, I'm like, oh my God, man, there was a time in my life where I got divorced and I felt depressed. Now I know it. At the time, I didn't, right? So you're doing insurance sales at the time, and you
Yes.
were one of the top producers,
Yes.
right? And how exactly did the depression happen?
It happened over time. It just didn't notice. You just started creating beliefs in your head, and it just kind of like those thoughts start sinking in, and then you don't realize it. And then like, why am I? Until one day, I just came to realize I'm like, why am I thinking this? I'm like, this something's not right here. And so first thing I did the next day was try to find a therapist and started therapy.
But you did look for a solution.
Yes. Oh, right away.
Okay.
The moment I realized it, I'm like, I need to fix this.
So I want to go back, right? Where did you grow up?
I was born in Chicago, but I grew up in Mexico.
You grew up in Mexico.
yes.
Okay, got it. And were you always this outgoing kid, or who were you?
I was kind of in the middle always. I was pretty always outgoing, but sometimes I could be a little shy.
Okay, so you're 18 years old. Where does at that time where were you?
18-year-old, I was in high school living with a friend. I had just opened my first clothing store.
First clothing store, right?
Well,
So
first and only, let's clarify.
first and only. Okay, got it. So at 18, you own a clothing store
I do. I opened up a clothing store in Mexico.
in Mexico. Okay, and who was your potential client at the time? Was
So-
it tourists? Who was it?
No, it was actually for the locals. So I saw that there was, if I wanted to buy clothes, I had to go to either Mexico City or Acapulco. And I'm like, there's no clothes here. I'm like, there's a gap. I need to fill this gap.
So you saw a gap in the market in Mexico, and were you living in Mexico by choice, or was it like a because you had an American passport?
Yes.
Okay, so you were living there by choice. Okay,
Well, I was 18. I moved on when I was 12, so
okay,
I didn't get there by choice, but I stayed by choice.
you stayed by choice. Okay, got it. So what happens with the clothing store?
So I'm 18. I'm paying for high school, but I'm also 18. So I'm partying a lot, and I have no financials. So after about a year, I kind of drove it into the ground.
Okay, so now looking back, do you think it went down the drain because the economics of the business was poor, or your own economic management, meaning
Oh,
your
my economic management. I was 18. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just making 10 grand a month at 18. It's like, and in Mexico, that's even more. So
Okay, got it. So the business was sound,
yes,
but maybe your mind was not sound yet.
exactly.
got
I
it.
was still developing.
Okay, got it. So now, mind you, I mean, today you can look back and laugh about it. At the time, did you feel, oh my God, I ruined the whole business, blah, blah? Did you go through that?
Honestly, back then, no, I didn't care that much. I'm like, if it is what it is.
Okay, it was like, I'm 18,
I'm 18,
young,
I'm young.
I'm having fun.
Who else says they had a clothing store at 18? Not many people.
Got it. Okay. So
At least back then.
you tried that. Then what was the next venture?
Next venture, well, I just focused on school. Well, then I went to moved to Atlanta for a few years. I managed a Latin music shop.
Okay.
Back when there were still CDs and stuff
Sure.
like that. So I did
And
that.
those
for,
were hot at one time.
Oh yes,
Right.
they were popping all over the place. But MP3 came around and
Sure.
What is it? iPod?
Yeah, iPod.
iPod
That
came
destroyed that whole business.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. So from there, what was the next transition?
So my mom had property. We had property down in Mexico, and she decided to develop it. So I decided to. She wanted me to go back, so I moved back to Mexico to help her develop it. So we did a couple flips. We started developing some property. We bought some more, and then a few years later, she unfortunately passed away.
Okay. So was that when your mom got you the real estate bug?
Oh, my real estate bug has been since I was a little kid because my mom and my dad have always been in real estate.
Always been in real estate.
Yeah.
And when was this?
In one way or another.
So you're doing the kind of the CD store, that whole thing, that record store, that goes out, right? I mean, that's kind of that business fizzled away. What came next?
While I was in Mexico, I was developing, working with my mom, doing the real estate down there.
Okay.
for a bit.
And when did you decide to come back? Is this after your mom passes away?
No, my
or-
mom passed away. I dive into entrepreneurship. I opened up a franchise for mortgages in Mexico.
Okay.
And I also opened up a frozen yogurt and smoothie shop.
Okay.
So that was going pretty well for a year. Like, again, dived into work. And then, unfortunately, started getting kind of ugly down in Mexico with the narcos and all that stuff. So
With the cartels,
the
the whole
cartels and all that.
So hold on, explain this to me. For us Americans, we hear about it, right? And is it a part of the society there? I mean, is that what it is?
Not anymore. It's been like ups and downs. Like there's been times when it's gotten really bad in some areas, and then it's just gone down. During that time, it got really bad when I moved down here because the cartels were fighting for territory, and it was just.
And where in Mexico were you?
I was in Ixtapas.
Okay. So that kind of kills the economy, that kills the mortgages. Everything is pretty much at a standstill because of what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So those two businesses are gone. You're going to shop and
That's when I decided to
come back.
Come back.
Okay. And how old were you when you came back?
That was 15 years ago.
So in your 30s?
Yeah.
Late 30s?
No, early 30s.
Early 30s.
Early
Okay.
30s. I was 29,
So you-
30.
So you come back to U.S. And what was your next move?
So just figuring out what to do. So I started looking for a job just from scratch because pretty much everything, like I had tried holding on as long as I could and there was not much to do. I was able to partner with somebody on the mortgage for them to keep it and do whatever they want with it in the meantime. But I came back and I started doing cold calling for the Cook County Sheriff's Police.
Okay. So you basically get a job and you start with cold calling.
Fundraising for the Cook County Sheriff's Police.
Okay, got it. So the calls that we get for the police,
Yes,
you were one of the
I
guys.
was one of those, yes.
Okay, got it. So did that pay pretty well?
It was a 30% commission.
Okay, 30% commission, whatever you raised. Okay, got it. And then when did you get in the mortgage industry?
Mortgage industry in Mexico. When I was
in Mexico. Okay, not here in U.S.
No.
Okay, but so you're here. You're doing the cold calling job. What happens next?
So I keep looking for jobs, and I come up to an opportunity where somebody would pay for my licensing, my licensing and my training for 3 months. They offered to pay me while I was training to get licensed and everything. So I'm like, okay, let's do it.
And so you go back to Mexico, or you were here?
I was here.
Oh, you were here. Okay.
The insurance was always here.
Okay.
Because that was insurance.
Okay.
And that was always here. And then I started doing that. At first it was kind of hard. Once they opened up, it was a learning curve because it was difficult. But after you get the rhythm of it and the flow, it just came naturally.
Okay, got it. And so at the time you're doing well with that, and what happens?
So I'm there, and then I'm in the insurance industry. Eventually, I just start getting complacent, and I'm like, I'm happy, but I'm not happy. It's like you're like, what's going on?
Were you single at the time? Married, kids?
Single.
Single. Okay. So you're single, and was there a reason you were now looking back, right? that you were feeling down and out? Was it what was the reason?
Uh, Beliefs that I started to believe.
Okay.
Those limiting beliefs that sometimes you have that we unfortunately get through time and through experiences and through what we think other people should, what we think other people think we should do, or something of the sort.
So is that like a gap of where you thought you should be and you were not there?
That's also a part of it because there was a point where I felt I honestly lost my ambition
Okay.
when I was depressed, and I hadn't even realized it either because I'm like, I was just comfortable and I was happy being comfortable. And I'm like, well, I'm not happy. I was just, uh,
So, somebody once said men live lives of quiet desperation, right? And they don't know where to turn, right? I mean, at some point, everybody's been, and I'm using men as an example. It doesn't really matter if you're a woman or regardless of sex, obviously, that you get in a place. Was that because you felt there was something missing? Was it a family issue? What was at the crux of it?
honestly, I don't really know. It's just something that kind of just happened. And I realized I'm like, these thoughts and beliefs that I have aren't true. They're just things my ego and my mind is making to for me to be comfortable because that's what the ego does a lot of times. It doesn't want change. It likes being comfortable. So a lot of times what you need to do is well realize that that's not life. Life is being uncomfortable. Life is enjoying it. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not really enjoying life.
Okay. So, I mean, was it like you're feeling that, okay, I'm complacent, but then when I'm complacent, I don't like it. And hence I feel depressed. Was there kind of that sort of a place where I don't want to be uncomfortable because that doesn't feel good, yet in my comfort zone, I'm too complacent. So I'm not happy here as
Exactly.
is, but I don't want to grow either because that's kind of scary. Was it because of some of the businesses you'd lost, some of the things in the past that had happened that
Oh,
your mind associated with bad things?
of
Okay.
course, because a lot of times we limit ourselves from our past experiences because we believe that our past experiences are going to be our future experiences.
Okay, and I'm asking that question because I think this happens to a lot of people, and a lot of times when this does happen, we don't even know that it's happening. Right? We can feel it, yet it's much easier to go back into being okay. Well, I hate what I do, but I'm going to keep doing it because I don't either like change or I don't want to be in a scary place because change is uncomfortable, change is scary, right? So you were kind of stuck in that conundrum.
I was yes.
Okay. And then did you try maybe some other career path? Did you try doing something different, change company? Because a lot of times people will do that.
I did change companies, and
Okay.
that did help. I went over from well, at that time when I realized I was depressed, I was at Allstate, and from Allstate I went to corporate for American Family.
Okay. So you go to corporate, you're like, oh, maybe this is going to be better. This is basically an exterior thing is going to fix my internal problems, right? So what happens there?
Well, I started thriving after 3 months. I was the first Hispanic to become Rep of the Month.
Okay.
After that, I broke the sales record for the month. Then I broke the annual sales record for the company, and then
But you would think that, man, you should be proud of yourself,
Oh,
right?
I am.
Because you're doing good, things are going well.
but this is when I'm already working on myself.
Okay.
And I had started the real estate thing. I had just joined Mastery. I joined Mastery about 6 months after joining work because that's when I realized once I switched the jobs, I had already realized I was depressed and I needed to fix that.
Okay, got it. So this is in the last 2-3 years we're talking about. Okay. So what was you're working at an insurance company. That's when you come to Mastery. What was that kind of stimulus that brought you to Mastery?
Well, it was basically I wanted something. I knew I was meant for more, and I wanted something better for myself. And I know insurance wasn't what I wanted for myself. It was just a job at the time, and I'm like, I want more. So I started looking for groups of real estate. I started going to REI, meeting and networking, and I found Mastery.
Okay, got it. So a lot of times when people come from mastery, right? I mean, on the face of it, it's like, oh, I want to own more properties. Oh my God, I want cash flow. I want. So what was that one thing that caught you that you're like, man, maybe this is something I really, really want? What was that one thing?
It was cash flow, the networking, and the people, the family,
The community.
the community.
Okay. So basically, in mastery, I mean, we're all pretty close knit, even though we come from different parts of life, different. But real estate is that one thing that
we
happens
all-
to bring us all together, right? And we truly believe that it's like as a community, meaning when you have a support structure, you can thrive, you can prosper.
Yes.
Right. So can you talk about that? Because a lot of times, right, people will look at it. Oh my God, this is competition, right? These people are trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do, but yet there is a community within a community
Yes.
where because entrepreneurship is a very lonely business, right? If you thrive, great. A lot of people will take pot shots at you. If you're doing just okay, or if you're not doing okay, either way, you're in a constant state of loneliness, not quite depression, but in the state is like I'm trying to fight the world alone, right? Like if you've ever seen the poster of Conan, here's this thing with a sword, this massive guy, and he's trying to fight the whole world alone. Is that kind of where you found yourself?
Little bit.
Okay. So now, right, what was the thing that changed? Right? Today, you're open enough to talk about this.
Yes.
Right? Most people will be like, oh man, I don't want to talk about this, right? Why?
I changed my beliefs. I changed my mind. I came to realize we all go through this.
Right.
It's in one way, in different ways, or one way or another, but we all go through it. And we should be okay to talk about it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's part of life.
Okay. So you have so far done a couple of flips.
Couple
correct?
of flips.
How do they go?
So.
So. Okay. Now looking back, right? Because we always talk about some basic things, right? We talk about area selection, property selection, the kind of return you're supposed to make on the money, right? So did you have money to begin with, or did you use private money loans for mastery?
I use private money.
Private money. Okay. So you use private money. You found the property, or was it a wholesaler?
I know I found the property in there.
You found the property. Okay. So now, when you analyze the deal in hindsight, right? What do you think went wrong? Was it area selection? Was it property selection? Was it some delays during construction? What was it?
We had one delay during construction, and we also, I don't know if I'd call it area selection. Our taxes doubled.
Your taxes double,
Yes.
right? I mean, so that can be because so the game just got it shifted levels on you, right? Which is that you have $3,000-4,000 taxes, and suddenly if they go to 6, your buyer pool is going to shrink.
Well, they were at 6. They went to 11.
They went to 11,000.
Yes.
Wow. And this is while you're holding the property.
Yes.
For a flip.
For a flip.
Wow.
So my buy box just shrinked.
Just shrank. Okay, got it. But in the end, you were able to rehab the property.
Yes.
You were able to sell it.
Yes.
You were able to pay the private lender back.
Yes.
Right. So, and you did 2 deals on.
Yes.
Did you make money on those?
I learned a lot.
You learned a lot. Okay. So, I mean, for all the effort, it wasn't. Now looking back, when you look at dollars and cents, yes, learning clearly. But in terms of making money, it wasn't necessarily that profitable deal.
No.
Okay, got it. So today, right, having looked at all of this, now what comes next in terms of your real estate adventure, basically investing journey?
Well, I'm looking for off-market properties. I have a few under contract right now that I got my first subject to yesterday. Didn't want to do it subject to, but it's the only way it worked.
Okay.
So I'm probably gonna have to sign that one out of Mastery because
Okay.
I don't think there's a lot of people who do subject to in Mastery. But
Sure.
Have that, and then I have another one in Pill Hill.
Right.
Had another one in Park Forest, but that one fell through. I couldn't find a buyer for it, and it's back on the market now they put it on the market.
Okay, so they listed it on the
They
market.
listed it. I had it for
So
85.
you, right? I mean, there are different things you can do in terms of off-market marketing. You can go buy TV ads. You can do big billboard signs. You can do a lot of the expensive stuff, or you can do kind of door knocking, mail, and or PPL, PPC, right, and cold calls.
Yes.
So which ones did you pick?
I'm doing mailers and cold calling right now.
Mailers and cold calling. Okay. So, and this is the other day we are kind of touching on the subject, right? Whenever you're doing mailers, are you trying to go after pre-foreclosures, high equity, absentees, probates? Who are you trying to target?
I'm targeting them with the ones with the most distressors.
With the most distressors. Okay. So basically, if they are in pre-foreclosure, if they have some sort of probate situation,
Tax issues.
tax issues. So
So
that's
if they
who
have
you're-
combination, those are the ones that hit the most.
Okay, got it. So basically, you're double stacking a list, and you're going after those because that has the most distress to see if I can make something of it.
Exactly.
Okay, so because that's a whole learning curve in itself,
Oh, it is.
right? I mean, because that how many mailings am I going to do? How many calls am I supposed to get? Of the calls, are those quality calls? Meaning, do they truly have distress? Can I truly do anything? Any lessons learned so far when you're doing the mailings that you thought was going to be something and the reality is a little different?
Oh, yes, so many. One is, so at first, a couple properties I locked up. Well, actually, one I locked it up too high.
Okay.
Try to renegotiate the one in Park Forest I was talking about right
So
now.
for the audience listening, you by locked it up, you're saying you got it under
Under contract, yes.
at a price that was a little bit high.
It was a little bit high.
Wouldn't work for you for a flip.
No, it worked for as a rental. It cash flowed like $800.
Oh, $800. Okay.
Yeah, but you had to leave like 15,000-20,000 in the deal.
15, 20,000 a deal. Okay. So, and for right now, that may not make sense for you, right? Okay. So basically, property was not bad.
No.
Did you think about maybe wholesaling it? Maybe
I tried
making
to.
a small margin on it?
I tried wholesaling for 95. I had it for 85.
Okay, got it. But no bites.
No bites.
Okay. What else?
Uh,
Whenever you're meeting these people, right? Are you pre-qualifying them before going on appointment?
oh yes, I pre-qualify them over the phone. I make an offer over the phone,
Okay.
and once they accept my offer, I've been trying to get them to sign online. Mostly they don't. Sign the contract on the phone. I usually go see the property and we sign there.
So basically, you're trying to do the whole process, whole sales process over the phone.
I am.
Is there a reason why you're doing that versus maybe going on more appointments in the beginning? Or is it kind of time issue?
It's a time issue. I went to go get a contract signed yesterday. I left at noon. I didn't get home till 6.
Good. Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's-
I mean, and we're talking about, mind you, Chicago and the suburbs, right?
So yeah, this
I mean,
was,
to go
I went
30
to,
miles an hour.
I went to
hour and a half.
114th.
Right.
I had a 2 o'clock appointment, so I left at 1, got there at 1, and then by the time talked, got documents signed, everything, drive back was an hour and 45 minutes.
Got it. So, is there when you started thinking about, okay, I'm going to do mail, right? Is there a monthly budget you came up with? How did you figure out what my monthly budget should be?
Well, I figured out how much money I had, and then
Sure.
also, and well, statistically they say it takes about 40 calls from a mailer to get one deal.
Okay, so let's kind of break that down for people. So you do a mailer, right? And I'll just make it simple so that let's just say you do 200 pieces of mail, right? Hypothetically, and you get. Have you figured out what your callback rate is?
Callback rate is about 2. I got lucky. Like on my first round, my
Right.
first month, I got about 42 calls out of 6,000 mailers.
6,000 mailers, and you got 42 calls, right? So if we look at our numbers, we consider we're doing okay when we're doing 0.68, right? That's our number, right? So what that means is for the audience that if you're doing 200 pieces of mail, right, 0.68 of that, so that's well less than 1%, right? So 0.68 would be basically 1.2 calls. I know there's no such thing as a half call, but that's just not enough mailers to generate enough calls. But you got 40 40 callbacks. Okay. And as far as when you got the callbacks, was it like, oh my God, I hate you, don't call me?
Honestly, I haven't gotten one of those.
You haven't got one of those.
The only thing I've gotten is take me off my list.
Take me out. Okay.
That's the only one.
fine.
But
Okay.
I hate you. Why those yelling
No.
at me? No.
Okay, got it. And of the 40 calls, how many were qualified calls, would you say?
Say about 50%.
50%. So the rest of them were either too high, expectation don't make sense, no motivation. That's
No motivation, or they had like the house was too much in good condition for to be able to wholesale.
for you to be able to buy it as a deal. Okay,
exactly.
got it. Okay, so 50%, and then of the 50%, did you go out on those appointments, or were you trying to do phone sales?
Phone.
Completely phone sales. Okay,
yes.
got it. And you're trying to close them on the phone. Okay, got it. And you're hoping that of the 40 calls, you can convert maybe one to a contract.
Yes.
Okay, got it. And so, of the one property, so now you have a property you got under contract that is a subject to. So that was the one yesterday you were saying?
Yes.
Okay, got it. And then on the subject to, how do you decide, right? So you clearly, it doesn't have enough equity, I would imagine, to work as a regular deal, right? But as a subject to, is it driven by the interest rate? What is the driving factor for that particular subject to deal? In your opinion?
Interest rate is 4%.
Okay, so they're locked in at a good interest rate. Okay, what about the condition of the property?
It does need work.
It does need work. Okay, got it. So you want to find somebody that is willing to put in the money and tie up the property so that you can basically sell it for a low interest rate. Okay, got it. So on that property, did you come up with a number that you're looking for in terms of you want to wholesale that deal?
Yeah, I'm going to try to wholesale that deal.
Okay. And what would you be trying to make on that?
For that deal, probably like 10, 12.
10 to 12. Okay, got it. And so with your right now, your primary objective is to do a few wholesales and then work your way into a flip and then rentals. That's kind of the trajectory you're trying to go on. Okay, got it. And how about cold calls?
Cold calls, pretty good, but a lot less. I have the cold caller. He'll call them. I've had first month we had probably about 60.
60 leads. Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
Okay. And mind you, are you calling A, B, C, C minus areas? Where are you calling?
Yeah. BC, using the same list I'm mailing.
Okay. So you're basically just that same exact list that you're mailing to, you're calling that same list.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. And in terms of a list size, what is the size of a list that you're using?
About 29,000.
29,000. Okay. So 29,000 people list, and what is the frequency with which you hit them? Either by call or by mail.
By mailer, I hit them once a month.
Once a month for 29,000?
No, not that. I'm hitting only 6,000.
Okay, 6,000.
I'm hitting the 6,000 top distressors. The cold caller is hitting them about 12,000 a month.
Okay.
So it takes me 3 months to
recycle the whole list. Okay, got it. And so of the six, so basically you took a list of 29,000 people, then you narrowed it down to the ones with the top level of distress, correct? And then, so you're basically doing repetitive mails to them and once a month.
Yes.
Okay. And then at what point do you plan on taking them out of the list? Like, let's just say you've mailed them for 6 months, right? Then do you go to a new list? What's the plan at that point?
Haven't gotten there yet.
Haven't gotten there yet. Okay, got it. I mean, that's fair, right? Because, I mean, that's something that people have to think about. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that. So for me, with certain lists, we will do every 3-week touches. And after 7 touches, we turn them over, right? Now, some people say, no, just keep mailing to them. And are you doing postcards, letters? What are you doing?
I'm mixing it up.
You're mixing it up, okay. Have you tracked what's getting you more responses?
So I'm just about to start. So far I'm in month 2.
Okay.
So right now I did the handwritten letter.
Okay.
So first month was the check. Second month was handwritten letter. Next month is the postcard.
Okay, so first month was a check, then handler letter and postcard. So did you notice the difference between a check where it's like an offer price, right? So are you using like a 60% model, 65%, 70% based on ARV? Do you know?
No, yeah, no. I'm using. I want the reason I got higher calls. We were using 80% ARV.
Oh, you're using 80% ARV. Okay.
Okay.
So for the audience that's listening, right, a lot of times maybe they don't understand, right? So the basic formula, technically, we use most of the time says you take your ARV of the property. So hypothetically, let's say the ARV of the property is 300,000, right? You take 70% of that number. So that's going to be 210. And then you subtract your rehab cost. So if the rehab cost is say 60,000, you're going to make an offer somewhere around 150, right? And the numbers you back into it, those numbers work. So that accounts for your carrying costs, accounts for selling costs, accounts for profit, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So so now no wonder you were getting such a high response rate because I'm like, how is it possible that he's getting such a high response rate?
Well, the idea is to get him on the phone,
Sure.
and on the phone
Absolutely.
is when you try to bring him down. If it
Right.
works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But
And I mean, that's a philosophy where if you're basically sending it to people with high distressors, right? Now the phone is ringing. And if there's a high distressor, if it's going to auction, if it's probate, if it's a tax sale, whatever the case may be, then you start bringing them in that back to reality based on the condition of the property.
Yes.
That, hey, I can offer you, let's just say 220, but because of the condition, because of all these factors, I can only pay you XYZ. Right?
Exactly.
You're kind of playing that model. So far looking at that, right? When you looked at it, I'm sure you're like, okay, I need to do this for 4, 5, 6 months at least, right? How did you plan your, okay, I have a certain amount of budget. Everybody's going to have a certain amount of budget. How did you plan for that?
well, I planned out. Well, I didn't plan out for 6 months. I planned out for 4.
Okay.
Hoping to by month 4 already have something coming in.
Okay.
It's kind
doing
of
a sale or two.
exactly.
Got it. Okay. Got it. So now looking back, right, at the couple of flips that you did, right? I mean, because I've always had this belief that spend 90% of your time looking for a deal and 10% fixing it. Meaning that a lot of times what happens is people will spend 10% time finding a property. As soon as they find, and this is normal, right? I've done this also, right? That when you find it, now you get so excited. You're like, oh my God. And then you try to make basically an okay deal into a great deal because you're going to do such fabulous rehab.
And you
right?
can't.
And it's
You can't.
impossible to do,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you can't basically bring a goat home trying to have a pet dog that guards your. I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes that happens that people will bring. They go to the market looking for a dog, and they come home with a damn cat, or they come home with a goat, and they don't realize it. And then they're like, oh no, I'm going to love him so much. I'm going to feed him, such good food, and I'm going to make him into a dog. You can't, right? Either it's a thoroughbred horse or it's a donkey.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't matter what you do to a donkey, you're not going to get him to win the Kentucky Derby. He may go up the mountain, but he's not going to win the Kentucky Derby, right?
Exactly.
So today when you look back, right, for the last 10, 15 years of your life, and you look back at the phase that you're like, man, maybe, I was down at certain parts of my life, right? Are there any things that you feel, any lessons learned or things, now you look back, maybe if I had this exposure or maybe if I had looked for help a little bit sooner, or maybe if I had changed my environment, that my circumstances would have changed or my mindset would have changed, what would you say to that?
So here's the thing, I've learned a lot of lessons through my life, and would I have changed things? Not really, because I wouldn't be where I am today.
Sure.
So because of that, no. And then that's also how you get tangled into thoughts and the what ifs and what ifs. And I prefer just to learn the lesson and move forward.
And move on. Right. So, I mean, it's like we are who we are because of our experiences kind of thing, right? And then any early on in life when you're young, right? Anything that you're like, man, this was a mistake. If I was to advise somebody now, I would play my cards a little differently. We can all look at our life and go, man,
I can do.
I could have been even ahead if I had just been a little bit more strategic. I love what I do, but I could have been a little bit more strategic.
Oh,
What
for
would you
sure.
say to that?
Oh, for sure. The business, my first business, the clothing business.
Right.
If I would have looked for somebody to help me manage it better, or in so many other times,
Okay.
that I could say that.
So, and the reason why I asked that question is because we have all, either we have an opportunity today that we're not maximizing it. I always feel that, right? I always feel that, oh my God, somebody else in my own situation could be doing so much better, right? Because I see my own faults, obviously, right? That I'm like, man, I feel so short. I fall so short, right? Or I should have, could have. I mean, I'm not saying go back and basically, kind of marry the three sisters, shoulda, coulda, and woulda, because, but yet you can look back and you're like, if I was a little bit more strategic, right? I would have made my life easier. You feel like that at some point?
I do, but that's what I'm doing. I'm making my life easy. I'm learning those lessons, taking them on today, and moving forward with them.
Moving forward. No, I mean, I think this is such a good conversation because a lot of times this is not talked about, right? We always talk about that, zero to the hero, and there's no such thing,
No.
right? There's no meaning. Everybody is constantly has to keep reinventing themselves, constantly has to, keep growing, and say something like mastery, right? I mean, if you want to become a better Christian, you got to hang around people who are Christians, right? You want to become whatever your faith is, whatever your religion is, you got to associate with people that are on that journey
Yes.
to bigger, better, nicer things. How important is that now looking back?
Oh, extremely.
So, anything else that I may have missed you want to touch on?
No, I think you touched on everything.
Okay, great. So, guys, this is Andrew Holmes. You're listening to Cashflow for Life. We're talking about Clark. And a lot of times, life is about taking those lemons or what happens to you or what circumstances you're in and turning it into a lemonade. Or another way of saying it is, it's not what happens to you, it's what do you do with it. So, Clark, this has been fun, man, because, to be open, to share and say, hey, I'm not there, but I'm working on it.
Oh,
right?
and I'm going to get there.
And that's the journey. Please like, love, share, and we will talk to you soon.